The report highlights that inequality in sub-Saharan Africa cuts across all spheres: education, healthcare provision, politics and employment, driven by entrenched structural obstacles and social norms. It estimates that a 1% increase in gender inequality reduces a country's Human Development Index by 0.5%.
Africa is at that moment of a demographic dividend, but that demographic dividend will only be realized when women and girls are part of the economy, equal players at that economy.
On education, the introduction of free primary education in many countries has seen Africa close the gender gap in enrollment. African women, however, only achieve 87% of the human development outcomes of men. This as a result of lower levels of secondary attainment, lower labor force participation, and high maternal mortality.
Only 60% of working-age women are in the workforce, compared to 86% men. But a critical impact of that means that we have less output per worker, because we know that when the gap between women and men in the labor force is smaller, then there's a higher output per worker.
On leadership, Rwanda, Seychelles, Senegal and South Africa are among top 10 countries globally with the highest representation of women in parliament. The report, however, recommends greater participation of women in peace building.
I think we need to have much more diversity in that decision-making process. I think politics and religion now needs to come together.
Access to capital to start businesses or collateral for those looking for commercial loans is a major hindrance to women enterprises. Now the United Nations is proposing an African Women Investment Bank.
There needs to be a focus on having specific resources targeted at women's enterprises.
Take Bangladesh, with the Grameen Bank example. Look at the number of women that were actually able to take their own families out of poverty by being able to access microloans.
The report recommends deliberate policy changes to ensure gender equality, political will to change harmful cultural practices, as well as the use of data to ensure women are included in national plans. That way, the continent can obtain double-digit economic growth. Sarah Kimani, SABC News, Kenya.